Going to get the music on, and it's from, as I said, from Spotify. All the good men are taken, or so they say. Let's get this straight. Editors of newspapers, the main ones, don't have much going for them in terms of so far. But they have the pizzazz of heroes and the philosophy of strong men and the parrying wit of writers like me. I remember editors being heartless in the movies with the Friday and the front page. Editors who ruthlessly pursue winning writers who write winning stories, and the softest side shows up in the payment for work that they issue. Not going for these editors, male, that is. Editors who are the new one, who are the inheritors of the old one, editors who are for their offers front page headlines. Thank you. Um, Part two, I'll shut the music off. Part two. All right. I'll just get a drink of water. So my workaholic, shopaholic, sexaholic theme will be relying on some bit of Shakespeare. All right. From the woman's perspective, all these plays from the woman's perspective, and with the woman as the hero. Certainly a twist to the Bard's Times. Before that, I have to say that I find a British man's accent really sexy. And I'm hoping to try to pull off the accent, but you have to bear with me, all right? And let's see if it turns out, because all of the sexy women are American or Canadian. And I would like a British woman to sound, they sound pretty, they sound simply beautiful, they sound emotional, and etc. And we'll see how this goes. All tall men I find attractive, as I do others. Of course, men who have the balls to say the right thing have my admiration. Sensibility, that was sense. Men, all men, except the men who write poems, I find droll. But they could change the course of history. Remember, It was the king and I, but Henry V, with the beam, had his way. A little bit of kidding in there, but so workaholic is Julius Caesar, and I have this portion um, from Julius Caesar. No, I think I chose Richard the Second. Richard the Second as workaholic, and Richard the Second um, begins as Richard's cousin Henry Bolingbroke, changes. Oh, there's a lot of this. This is from Folger Shakespeare Library, with serious and there's a lot of this. Richard seizes the possessions of John of Gaunt after he dies to help finance a new war in Ireland. I mean, Richard II went picking fights with the Irish. Irish are known for their famous temper and temperament. The redhead, that's what we read. And it's true, it's true. And Bolingbroke returns to England, and Bolingbroke is dispossessed and returns to England, quickly gathering support. By the time Richard returns from Ireland, many of his former allies have joined Bolingbroke. Richard abdicates, yielding the crown to Bolingbroke. And I think at this sometime here, the Tudor, or that's a Tudor portion begins, and you can read all about this. So Richard II, I would have liked to have been Richard II. And what would have done after I conquered Ireland? Bedded all the Irishmen, of course, but a lot of bedding. Irishmen would have been a little, passe after some time, because there's only so much of sex you can take. So maybe I'd have resorted to reading Shakespeare, and encouraged all the engineers and writers and artists in the land of England and Ireland. But England goes away from him, from Richard II. He has to abdicate the throne. Bolingbroke takes it up, right? We just read now. So that's the workaholic aspect, working hard, looking after the people, and besides, having a bit of Irish dinners and suppers. All right, so then shopaholic. What does the shopaholic do? I chose, as for shopaholic, the comedy of errors, I think, yes. And in the comedy of errors, I will just point out that this is Shakespeare Birthplace Trust, and you can have a good time reading this. The sayings I thought I would read: out of the world, I'm like a drop of water that in the ocean seeks another drop. This is Act 1, Scene 2. And there are a few quotes like this. Am I in earth, in heaven, or in hell? And this is also, all right, this is what I wanted to say, because as a shopaholic, would have appealed to me. A gold chain that Antiphalus of Ephesus has ordered is delivered to Antiphalus of Syracuse instead. And the goldsmith claim for payment leads to the arrest of Antiphalus of Ephesus and his servant. And there's a whole story. I must have read a little bit. This is an old book, which dates back to my father's days back in India, Bangalore, India. And he died when I was 11. So he had bought in a book fair all these Shakespeare's books. And this saying, I have to say, oh, grief hath changed me since you saw me last. And I remember my mother crying over my father and everything, and I had to just refer to it. Lastly is the sexaholic portion. And I chose Henry VIII, 8 wives. As the female version of Henry VIII, I'd have had 8 husbands to taste the delights of sex. But that would be a little too much like Hindu kings who really lived for sex. All those, Kama Sutra, but they did other things. They conquered people. They had their ministers to rule over them, and but I would have tasted the richness of 8 men in bed, and other walks of life, of course. I would have been the queen. I would not have, just bedded them, because that would not have been the right thing to do. I would have, I have taken care of them and put them to work and maybe given them the position of ministers and and other uh, um, other tasks, or given them other tasks. So that was my workaholic, shopaholic, sexaholic take on Shakespearean plays. And as a female, feminist female, engineer, writer, and artist, it would have been simply delightful being the female version of Henry VIII and gone shopping for gold chains in the Comedy of Errors and being Richard II in Richard II. All female versions, right? But England had queens. We had Elizabeth II just not so long ago. But now it's the Charlesian times. King Charles I rules. First, yes, I think it is. I believe it's King Charles I. Yes, this whole two dynasties. So I think the Tudor and the other one, I have to remember this. I've studied this, but it's a while back. I've done a lot of engineering school since then. So Tudors and then hmm, the Magna Carta, Tudors, and I could look it up. Or you could have fun studying the history of England and how it is intermingled with the birth of Canada and the simply beautiful, prosperous, and historical times of Canada. All right? Thank you.